more insane stories that I have seen in quite some time, and we are talking about South Florida, was this story that happened on Monday, November 25th, middle of the day, 1:30 p.m. 65-year-old Brian Hiltebeitel is at the Sandhill Crane Golf Club in Palm Beach Gardens on the first hole, and this 36-year-old Junior Boucher, I guess, comes out of nowhere, had been on the course, and grabs this 65-year-old's clubs, starts beating him with the clubs. The 65-year-old is saying he's trying to kill me, runs to a water hazard. The 36-year-old follows him in there, tries to drown him, and finishes him off with his own clubs.
Whoa.
Like, what the heck is going on? This guy's making a ruckus. Was no one else on the golf course? What was happening? There's so many questions, and there's not a lot of details coming out. It doesn't sound like they knew each other. It doesn't even sound like there had been any kind of infraction. Just from what I'm gathering right now, a 36-year-old comes out of absolutely nowhere on a quiet golf course on a nice day in the middle of it with sunshine out and attacks you with your own clubs.
There must have been some backstory, and there must have been something beefy between these two before this.
I don't think so. And the only thing I know is it sounds like that Junior Boucher has a pretty long rap sheet. I think there's some drug offenses that are caught in there, and we have heard those kind of stories before. So I'm drawing my own conclusions at this point because I don't have any other details, and your mind tends to do that to fill in the blanks until I got something else. But I do appreciate, because we got so many great KVJ Nationers that send us little tidbits of information. So you got to take it for what it is, and the person has to remain anonymous. But one of the big questions is, okay, did no one jump in to help? What would you do if you were on a golf course and you saw this going on? Now, he's using clubs, yes, but you also would have your own clubs. So if you see someone that could be on the edge of death and they need your help now, not a 911 call because it's too late, do you or do you not step in?
I got to size up the assailant, and I got to figure in my own mind if I think I can help the situation without getting myself killed.
Yeah.
And if it's two big-ass men, I am not putting myself in the middle of them.
I could see you, yeah. I guess more I'm speaking to if you were one of his buddies.
If I was a golf buddy, a big dude, one of his friends,
Yeah.
absolutely I would get involved.
If it was you or Denny's, any of my friends,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, I saw the snack pack, I would not be able to live with myself if I did not try to get in take some kind of effort.
But was he golfing with a bunch of old men? I live on a golf course, y'all. It's a lot of old men.
Keep in mind, he's 65, so his friend group likely is in about the same age range. And this might fill in some of the blanks as to what exactly was going on until we get other information. Now, they say it's still under investigation, so I cannot give you all the details, but here is what was known the day of the incident. The altercation happened on the golf course over the course of a few holes.
Oh, they were both golfing. One was behind the other.
The younger male aggressor was wandering the golf course, screaming and yelling at golfers. Before long, the confrontation escalated, and the aggressor attacked the older gentleman who was golfing. There were other people around golfing, and none of them called 911 or intervened, other than some of them saying, "Hey, stop it, you don't do that." Some people were even taking video
Oh, no.
of this incident as it was going down.
So was the younger guy golfing, or was he just roaming?
That I don't know, and there's no details on that. If he had just walked onto the course and started harassing golfers. A resident in the neighboring community of Osprey Isle heard the commotion and called 911 unaware on what was happening. He was the first one to call.
So all of the people that were golfing just took video and didn't call 911?
Don't know how many, but it sounds like that might be the case. The aggressor fled the scene and ran to some swamp area of the golf course and hid in the swamp naked. The police searched for him for a bit, and the individual who called the police to begin with found the man hiding naked in between the golf course and his house in a swamp area and informed police, who detained him. And they had just pulled a 10-foot gator out of that area weeks prior.
Oh, my gosh.
That community, Osprey Isles, was also the community where one of the fallen officers had lived. Such a terrible thing to have to go through, two tragedies like that within the same week in the same community. So that is a lot.
It's a
Wow.
lot of death in one community.
Yeah, it really is. And just an absolutely insane story and probably a lesson to everybody. Look, we got to honestly start putting our phones down and helping people out when they're in need. What the hell are you doing? If you think getting a video of someone's death is more important than preventing that death, you need to check yourself.
Well, even when I just see people fighting and people are videoing, you'll watch a video and
right.
people are getting their butt kicked and people are just videoing it. It makes my stomach feel weird, man.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It does. So it is a crazy story that hopefully we'll get some details on.
Was the assailant, the
doesn't
younger
know.
guy, was he on like drugs?
I don't know if Kevin knows those details.
It sounds like he may have just wandered on the golf course on like some kind of bath salts, meth, crazy hallucinogenic mushrooms, and just gone off.
Yeah, I don't know. That's right now what I can deduce, but that's not having any details or any kind of information to that fact.
There is a weird condition that happens, and there's a famous case, I think back in the 20s, where this woman was, the 1920s, this woman is getting stabbed in the middle of a street, and there's all these people watching, and everyone subconsciously thinks someone else is going to either get
Yeah,
authorities
right.
or break it up, and they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Not that that's an excuse,
Right.
but that's a condition.
No, it is, and that's why I think right now, kind of maybe plant it in your brain that these kind of things can happen. And sometimes if you rehearse in your mind what you would do, when you're thrust into that situation, you've already gone over it and you know how you would react.
You immediately call 911.
Yeah.
Even if you think like you can break it up, but if it's like two grown men fighting and you think one's going to kill the other one, I would be calling 911 first.
If you think someone's about to die, though, you have to try to save
you
them.
have to do whatever you can.
You gotta
You
save
can
their
do
life.
the 911. You put the phone down, and then you grab a club, and you become an aggressor to the person who is the aggressor.
See, this is the one time you're supposed to get involved and want to fight, man. This is the one time.
I know, but I'm scared because I don't want to go into a fight I can't win. If I look at these two men and I know that they could kill me with one snap.
Well, the one guy doesn't sound like he was doing anything. He just sounded like he got hit.
Well, hopefully the one guy that's dying is hopefully the guy who's killing the guy that's dying doesn't notice me sneak up behind him with a golf club. But if he does, and then he turns around and puts his aggression on me, now I'm dead and the old guy is dead.
I also think filming it should be a crime. I really do. A murder or a...
Filming instead of calling 911.
It's just flat out
You're
gross.
right.
It's flat out
gross.
gross.
It's gross.
It is
Well, they have
gross.
that kind of... you get in trouble and you can go to jail if you watch something go down, like a Diddy situation.
And you don't report it.
You can absolutely get in trouble.
I agree.
Apparently, he had been evicted from his home that morning, a few hours before the attack.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so he had left on foot for one reason or another.
My girlfriend texted me and said that the EMT was a friend of hers and he was on drugs.
Okay. Yeah, so they had said, too, that apparently his family had contacted police to report him missing.
Oh, boy. They knew he was going to be a problem wherever he popped up.
I think so, yeah, because why, if you have a grown man and he's fine, you may just go off for a walk to process everything. But, yeah, if you think that they're a danger to others, that's when you call to say, hey, heads up, you got a head case on the loose. And so they must have known something and maybe had some kind of mental break or something that had happened.
It happens.
But, well, I mean, if you got mental health issues, you got a bad situation, and you throw drugs into the mix, then, yeah, you wonder how something like this happens. That's how it happens. It's a formula. You
It
put
is.
all those elements together, and then you've got the kind of story that we have. So
It is. And it's
just
not the first
terrible.
time this has happened.
No.
A lot of people in my community, the face eater in Tequesta, I don't know this on the record, but a lot of people off the record have told me he was so blasted out of his mind on mushrooms
Yeah.
that were not detectable by a drug test.
Right.
And he had got into an altercation at the Duffys with his family. And then he walked to that house and killed those people. Now, this is off the record that I was told this. I don't have any official information, but if people are on drugs, going through mental health crisis, and it's a perfect storm in their life and they can't handle it, this psychosis that becomes murderous can happen.
And it really does take family members and friends. If you see that combination of any kind of mental health issues and drugs, you got somebody that's a ticking time bomb.
Yes, and you don't let them wander onto a golf course or home into Cuesta or walking from Duffy's back to their house. Like, that person needs to be brought to a 5150 hold. They need to have a psychiatric review, and they don't need to be out in public murdering innocent people that are just sitting in their garage or golfing.
Yeah, it's tough. We have loopholes and, in the law right now when it comes to some of these things, because you don't want to take somebody that is healthy and violate somebody's civil rights, and so you've got that concern. But
look,
hopefully we get it right soon.
I've called a 5150. Me and my sister called it in on my mom because she was a danger to herself and others. You have to do it, and it may not be comfortable, and the person may be mad at you for doing it, but you got to do it.
Yeah, well, something to kind of put in your own head, because you never know. You're in South Florida and you're in this world, and crazy things just come out of nowhere at a time where you wouldn't expect it. It's Monday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Who thinks that you're going to be in a life or death situation on a golf course?
Well, dude, it sounds like it was a random attack. No, you can't prepare for a random attack. That's why it.
Yeah.
It's horrifying, but it can happen to any of us if we don't start protecting each other. And if this person's in your family, you've got to call in the 5150.
Yeah.
This is how we do. It's the KVJ Show.